Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So today I'm going to be unboxing and setting up my new Adaptix soft jaw system. Whenever I was up at IMTS Chicago this past year, I had the pleasure of meeting and talking with the folks there at Adaptix. And during those discussions, they had asked if I would be interested in trying this system out for myself. And I said, absolutely. I think it looks like a very unique and interesting system that's going to have a lot of benefits to it in today's manufacturing. So they sent me one of their demo units right here, and I want to get this unboxed. I want to bring you in. I want to show you all the parts and components that go with this, how it works. We'll get it set up on the machine and get it ready for a job, and we'll talk about the benefits of what this Adaptix soft jaw system can do. So my kit includes the Adaptix soft jaws by Norgren Work Holding. They also included this Kurt Vise. This is the DX6 crossover vise. Now, you do not have to buy the kit with the Kurt Vise body right here. If you have one of these vices, you can use your own. Just take the jaws off. This will fit your standard Kurt style vise. Got all the signatures from everybody that works there at Adaptix. This is a product that is engineered, designed, and made in the US. All right, so these are your vise jaws right here. And then we're gonna have some parts that go on there. These are gonna be the fingers. We have some more parts here. These are gonna go inside the fingers. We'll check that out in a minute. We've also got a wrench as well. So let me get these guys pulled out and we'll give you a better look at them. There's a little closer look at just the jaws before we get them installed. And we'll mention briefly like what the benefit of this system is. So the way this works is that each one of these bars here move independently, except for the center ones. These are rigid, but all the ones to either side of that actually move in or out. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Loosen these guys up here. All right. And the way this will work is that if you have a workpiece that's, so let's just say not square, not parallel, like you would traditionally clamp something in a vise using your regular vise jaws. If you had a piece, say, like this knife here that I machined in the Saunders training class. Say you wanted to hold this to do another feature on there, machine it, drill it, tap it, whatever, or a second op. You can actually set these jaws up to hold a weird shaped piece like this, because they will actually kind of move and conform to that shape. All right, so that's the idea behind it. Now there's other pieces that go on here. So you have what they call the fingers, all right? Every one of these individual bars here are going to get a finger mounted on it, like this. They do include the torque wrench here so that you can use this to tighten these up. Pretty cool because it applies the right amount of torque to these guys. Just like that right there. So each one of these is going to get a finger installed on there, and then you have a hardened stud that goes inside here as well, and these are bolted in from the bottom. So there's a hex that drops down in there. So this acts like your parallel right here. You can use this face right here to clamp, or you can come up here on this little ledge, which would be your parallel, and push against the pin. All right. So once we actually get these installed on the vise body and get all of the fingers tightened up properly and torqued, we need to set this up in the mill, and we need to come across here and dress the fingers on this ledge right here, which is going to be your parallel. That way all of them are in the same plane once this is installed on there. All right, and that's about all it is to it. Now this is going to be the jaw. This is your moving jaw right here. There's the bottom of it. And whenever you go to install these, they also include this sphere, and you'll use the grease it up and stick it right in there like that, just like so. so that it's pulling against that center point right there, and it allows to align it properly. All right, this other jaw, the fixed jaw, is going to be the same way. There's another piece inside here. We'll use our Allen wrench. Go ahead and remove this one. All right, so this is the piece that is going to bolt to the vise body right there. They do include the 2 bolts that you need to bolt that down. All right, and then the same thing inside here. There's an area inside there that you grease this half ball and stick it down in there, and it's going to apply pressure right here to this point whenever it's installed. And then once you have it installed, I got to loosen that set screw some more. You'll tighten up this set screw into this divot here to lock it in place. So let's go ahead and start getting these guys on there. We've got our vise body lightly tightened down to the mill table. This is not indicated anyway. Once we get our fixed jaw mounted on here and torqued, then we'll indicate the jaw just like you would any other situation when you're tramming in a vise. So to start, we'll take, this is the fixed dovetail adapter, and we want to make sure that the vise is clean. I've already wiped it off, but we'll double check it. That should be good and clean there. It's going to fit down in the key. And they include the 2 7/16 bolts that you need to hold this down. All right, and then we're going to torque that to 65 foot-pounds. So we'll go ahead and install our fixed jaw. First thing we got to start with is we'll flip it up, make sure it's clean. You're going to take one of the half spheres, go ahead and put some grease on it. They said do both sides. And then there's a pocket down inside there that matches the sphere, so stick it down in there. The grease will help hold it in place. All right, once you got the sphere in there, we'll set it down on here. All right, there we go. And then tighten up this set screw in the back here. And then this is also going to be torqued to 65 foot-pounds. There we go. And we'll get the moving jaw installed there too, but before we do, I'll show you how these fingers work. So this is the fingers that you have to install. It's made on a dovetail system, and they have a clamp there that pulls up. So once you stick this in the dovetail, there's also like a little notch that lines it up in the center, and then you just tighten the bolt up from the top there, and it pulls the clamp, pulls it that way against the dovetail. Tighten it up just like that. And there's also going to be a bolt that goes in from the bottom that will secure the studs in there as well. So these will drop in, and then you will tighten it up with the bolt, but that's going to come after we dress the top of the bars here. I'm sorry, the top of the fingers, okay? I'm going to go ahead and just take that one back off, and we'll go ahead and get our moving jaw installed. It'll be the same way on the back here. On the inside, there's a divot inside. We'll grease up the sphere and get it inside there. I think I got to loosen that set screw a little bit. There it goes. Drops on there, and then they said to just lightly tighten this one on the back. this one doesn't get torqued the same as the front side there. Just slightly snug it up. All right, there we go. Now we need to go ahead and get our fixed jaw indicated parallel to our table. All right, I want to get this indicated in. You can go from this point to this point or go all the way across the bottom. I've got my stair at 196 indicator set up here to do this. We'll go across the bottom there so that we're not skating across the ends of the little fingers there. Just using the soft blow hammer. I'm going to bump on this while we're indicating. Quickest way to get it. It's about 1/1000. I think we got it right about there. Nope, went a little bit too far. All right, that's looking good there, and we'll go ahead and lock her down to the table. All right, we want to go ahead and start installing all of the fingers. So just start sticking them in there one by one. I've got my little drill driver tool here that I'm going to use with a 3mm tip. And I'm just going to stick them in there with that, and then we'll use the torque driver to finish them off. Let's see. I don't know if it really matters. We'll snug these up, keep them from moving, pushing back on us. All right, we're going to repeat that on the fixed jaw side. And once we got all the fingers in there and looked at them, making sure they're all in line, they're all bolted in good, so use the supplied torque wrench here to torque them. Now we're going to go in here and dress the tops of all the fingers so that they're all in the same plane with each other. So we're going to take a good 1, 2, 3 block. I've hit this on my precision stone, make sure there's no burrs. And you can lay this right in here underneath there. And go ahead and run the moving jaw up. And go ahead and snug it up like you would, tightening up a workpiece. All right, and we're gonna grab a carbide end mill and come in here and clean the tops of these up. They said that it takes somewhere between 3 and 5 thousandths to clean all these up, and it helps if you go ahead and run a Sharpie mark over that so you can kind of see that you're removing the material to clean them up. So we'll go ahead and jump on that next. All right, we're gonna machine the top of those fingers just to clean them up. Got a 3/8 carbide end mill in there. Got it set about 1600 RPM. All right, we're touching that. I'm gonna set the knee and we'll go up. We'll start with 3 thousandths. Those fingers cleaned up nicely. I touched it, took 3 thousandths, it cleaned up all the blue on there. And they do recommend to deburr them, but the chamfer that they have machined on there, there's actually no burr on there, so I'm not going to worry about deburring them. It helps if you have one of those like little small Dremel tools that you can get in there and hit those radiuses with. So I'm going to go ahead and take the cutter out so I don't cut myself wide open on it. And next thing is to install the studs. So we'll get on that next. So the last phase for the setup here is to install all of the studs inside the fingers here. And there's a couple ways you can do that. You can remove each one of these fingers individually and stick this in there. It comes with the supplied screws that come in from the bottom and tighten it up in there. Or they say you can just take the whole jaw off and install them all at the same time without taking the fingers off. So that's the way I'm going to do it. We're just going to go ahead and remove these, take this off so that we can just come in there and easily install every one of these at the same time. All right, this is the easy way to do it to me, is just come in there like this. You have to make sure that the stud is lined up with the key in the bottom. All right, that was the last finger that we installed. They do give you a couple, some extra there, some extra parts to hold on to. And then, so once those are all installed, then you go back in with that same torque wrench that they supply and go ahead and make sure that they're all torqued. All right, we're just about done now. There's all of our fingers installed. So I'm going to make sure everything is clean, the device is completely clean, and we will reinstall our half spheres here with plenty of grease. Stick them in there so that they hold in their place, and we'll get these mounted back on the vise. All right, we've got everything clean. We're going to go ahead and put our fixed jaw back on there. All right. Snug it up, and then we'll grab our torque wrench and torque this back down to 65 foot-pound. And back on with our moving jaw there. All right, there we go. These guys are ready to put to work. All right, so our Adaptix soft jaws are now installed and ready to use. So now we can kind of get to the whole meat and potatoes of what these jaws are designed for. I've got a couple examples right here that we'll use as sample pieces so you guys can see how this can be used, but there's going to be a lot of ways in which you can use these to your advantage. And this being the first time that I'm setting this up and the first time using it, I've got a lot to learn about this system myself and kind of get familiar with it and you know, the best way to use it there. So let's just kind of give a couple little demonstrations. You know, you can loosen these guys up so that you can move these jaws out, these fingers the way you want. All right, just like that. And we're going to go ahead and start with our sample, our razor knife that we made there at the Saunders training class. All right, so you can see we've got a lot of curves on here. You got a couple flat parallel areas here, but this is all kind of curved in right there. So if we wanted to hold this piece in there, well, the jaws are loose. I'm going to go ahead and just slightly snug this up. We're going to stick it in there like that. Kind of center it up. All right, I'm going to just lightly snug these with my fingers here and see what that does. And then we'll close the vise up ever so gently. You can see the fingers are moving. And I'm watching it. I'm watching these back here, so we're still pushing everything forward towards the back so that these two fingers over here on this side will touch. And I think we're good to go right about there. So what we'll do is go ahead and torque these. So it says right on there, 65 foot-pounds. I'm going to go ahead and grab the torque wrench. And I've got it set to 65 foot-pounds, so we'll go ahead and torque these guys now. That was the torque wrench. It didn't work the way it's supposed to there. It kind of jumped, so I must not have been on the tooth right. All right, there we go on that one. All right, 65, 65. So that should be tight. So now when you tighten up the moving jaw here, everything should be, it shouldn't move on you, and it should tighten it up just the way you want to right there. So now we've got this piece firmly held in many positions all the way around it over here on this these curved features here, and of course on the parallel section there as well. So we should be able to remove this, take it out. If we had multiple parts, stick this guy right back in there where we had it and tighten it back up, and you're ready to do the next part. That is really cool, man. I mean, I've thought of a lot of different work pieces that you could have, a lot of different shaped work pieces, such as castings. All right, castings would be a good example, or even maybe even like flame cut pieces that you want to do some simple, you know, put some holes or some milled features in that you don't have a machined edge. You could use that to hold a nice, you know, a flame cut part. So let's go ahead and back up, and actually I would like to get a picture of this, and then we will move on to our second piece. All right, let's show you one more example. We'll go ahead and take our knife out of there. All right, and then, so this is the piece that we're going to hold now too. I think this is another really good example. This was our other sample test part that we machined in the Saunders training class. All right, so the first thing we'll do is go ahead and loosen up our jaws here. I guess I should have just grabbed the torque wrench to loosen it up, because that is pretty tight. Okay. So, how about we go ahead and just push them out again. Let's figure out how we can put our piece in here to hold it. All right. There we go. Come on out. So I think I'm going to just try to center up the center two ears here on these two fixed jaws, the two fixed fingers. All right, that's looking good. Everything's kind of moving and conforming. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and tighten up our clamps. Okay, all right. Now we should be able to just give it a little more torque, snug it up, and it should be there. And loosen it up. Drop your part back in and go right back to the same shape where you've previously clamped it. That is pretty cool. I really like that. Exciting, exciting to have this. The design behind this, I think, is actually really interesting. I think it's pretty well thought out, and I'm actually really interested to get my hands on some good work pieces that we can utilize these Adaptix soft jaws for. Well, this is going to conclude the unboxing and setup of the Adaptix soft jaws. Really excited to have this, as I think this is going to be very useful for so many different types of applications. As I'd mentioned before, I can picture this being really helpful when it comes to holding many different types of raw castings for machining, or flame cut parts, and especially, you know, mass-produced parts where you have parts that's got complex geometry, and you typically having to machine soft jaws to hold your parts for maybe a first or even second op. I think this will take those soft jaws' place, and I just think it's going to be a really nice solution to have around here, and I'm excited to put it to work and see how it's going to help us out around the shop. Big thanks to Adaptix for sending it out for me to try out and sample it and see how it's going to work. Really excited to get some jobs in here and make use of this. I'm going to be bringing you guys back very soon. I've got a couple of brake calipers, some aluminum brake calipers that I've got to do some repair work on, and I think that these Adaptix soft jaws are going to be the perfect solution for holding those guys to do the repair work that I need. So we'll be bringing you guys back soon to show you that, and hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again very soon.